everybody and welcome along to a brand new video where we finally got Resolution airing yesterday, getting to see the return of a Dalek for the first time in several years. A one-off design of course, but I really liked it. So yes, I just wanted to give you guys my quick thoughts on the sort of redesigned Dalek that's only a one-off but a redesign for this episode, and why I thought it was a really effective design that worked really well in the context of this episode. I felt like I wanted to do this because I've seen a lot of hate on social media for this new design of the Daleks, and I just felt that I wanted to kind of counteract that a little bit by giving why I think this actually does work within the context of the episode. Because I think first off, one of the big problems is that people have been slating it because they think it's the new redesign for the Daleks, and that really confuses me. It's almost like they either haven't watched the episode or haven't been paying any attention to the fact that this is a design for a Dalek that's been thrown together with whatever this Dalek mutant could find in a sort of scrapyard, essentially, in a farm sort of workshop. I think is essentially just pulled a load of parts from there to try and throw together a Dalek design from what the Dalek can remember it's supposed to look like. So obviously it's not going to look amazing, it's not going to look sleek or colourful or sort of like it's properly put together. The whole idea is it's meant to look a bit shabby and rusty and not really look like the previous ones, because it's kind of the Daleks what it can roughly remember of a previous one from literally over 1,000 years previously. So I don't really understand why people are therefore slating it for that reason, because that's just how the episode has set it up to be. That's the whole point of the episode. And also the fact that people seem to think it's the new redesign for the Daleks of future episodes, when it's very clear this is a one-off within this episode. And you see the Dalek getting destroyed at the end of the episode, and it's very clear that we're never going to see this exact design again, because it's impossible to recreate the exact design because it's made out of spare parts. So of course it's not going to be identical. But that was the whole point of this episode, is it's meant to be a one-off, thrown together piece of casing that the Daleks, this sort of scheming, planning Dalek has managed to try and work out and come up with to create its own casing again. And that's why I think it does actually work really effectively, and why, although it doesn't look maybe spectacular or slick or nice and shiny and bright, that's not the point. What this design does show is how sort of clever this Dalek was. This particular Dalek is very kind of able to, is just willing to do anything to survive. I think it showed how the sort of almost the classic style of a Dalek really here. But when you think all the way back to things like Power of the Daleks from a very 50 years ago, 52 years ago, where the Daleks at their absolute kind of scheming best, shall we say, willing to do anything to survive, pretending, sort of doing things in secret, just using any parts they can to try and sort of forward their own cause. Of course, there's only a single Dalek on this occasion, but being willing to just throw together a casing out of anything just to try and get mobile again and get going sort of shows, I think, the sort of strengths of the Daleks here, and really creates them as a threat once again. And even in terms of the pure design of this itself, although it's meant to be quite thrown together, I do think it's not that bad overall. It does have some nice aspects of it. Obviously it's very rusty, it's meant to look very sort of rustic in that regard, and it does look a little bit weird having the very kind of thin upper section of it compared to the bottom section, whereas it all kind of comes in as naturally. It's sort of a sudden clunk in there, which yes does look a little bit weird, but that's probably just the Dalek not being able to find the right parts to get the perfect size and shape, which makes complete sense that it wouldn't be able to find the perfect parts. I really like the sort of red light that sort of protrudes from the sort of inside of almost where the mouth would be, sort of underneath the eyepiece, when the Dalek's speaking. I think that looks really cool, and really just kind of emphasising the Dalek's anger and its voice as it talks. I think that sort of, yeah, bright red flashing light through there really kind of works very effectively in just showing that as well. So I thought that was a really good addition to the Daleks that I haven't really seen before. It was nice to see a Dalek have a proper claw back, along with the sort of the Dalek weapon, the extermination gun. It also had the claw that we see right back from the very early days of Doctor Who. Some of the Daleks used to have those sort of claw-like things. So I thought that was just a nice sort of callback to the classic series. And what I also thought was really cool was when the Dalek was trying to take out all the soldiers, suddenly opening up all those bottom sort of the balls at the bottom of the Dalek, and sort of having missiles turning up out of each of those, which was just such a clever, brilliant idea. It's exactly the sort of thing a Dalek that wants to cause mass chaos and take over the world would do. It's like, why haven't the normal Daleks thought about this yet? Like, it's such a great idea. So it's just such a great shot as you just see them all kind of pull in. It's almost like it's turned into a sort of a tank or a battleship or something like that, where it's got these secret compartments of weapons that can suddenly open up and then start firing out. And so I thought that was a brilliantly clever idea to sort of include that within the Dalek, which made so much sense, and the reason why it was getting all these different weapons from that sort of archive place that it went to earlier on, the sort of storing all these weapons. So I just thought, yeah, that was another brilliant addition to the Dalek. And so just overall, I really thought it worked very, very effectively in the context of this episode. No, it's not a Dalek design I would want to see return for another episode. Yes, I would have liked to have seen more Daleks in this episode. It's a little bit of a shame we didn't, but I think we're going to have a future episode with the proper new redesign of the Daleks, a whole new fleet of Daleks and everything like that. I'm sure we'll get in the future. But if you didn't like it, that's absolutely fine. Just fear not, it is only a one-off design. So don't slate Chris Chibnall because you don't like this design, you think he's ruined the Daleks. It's one episode, and we will never see anything like this again. I think I personally think it's quite sort of interesting because it's very, very, very rare that we've kind of had different one-off Daleks, or Dalek designs or styles or things like that in Doctor Who. Obviously we had the Special Weapons Dalek in Remembrance of the Daleks. That's probably the most obvious, very different Dalek to everything else. Whereas this just feels like another one of those one-off exploratory sort of Daleks. It's only ever going to be in one episode, and it's just something a little bit different, and that's what I really, really liked about it. So yes, overall I thought it was a very, very effective design for the Dalek, for a single episode only, of course. I wouldn't like to see it back again, but in this episode, in the context and the whole sort of reasoning behind it, it makes so much sense, and I think does still work quite effectively and really sort of brings in the threat of the Daleks once again. But what about you guys? What did you think of this Dalek design? Was it an absolutely terrible one and you just can't even handle, even though it's only one episode, you hate it? Or did you think, like me, it worked quite effectively in the context of the episode? I'd just love to hear what you guys have to say about the new Dalek. So guys, that's just about it from this video. I will be having my review of the episode coming up tomorrow night, so keep looking out for that. But other than that, for now, remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Goodbye.